more to get you prepared for your exams. And not only that, to further sensitize you and interact with you concerning the rudiments, the basics of communication required of you as a professional in the field of social work. As far as communication is concerned, it requires lifelong learning. It's very interesting the way we get to discover new things about how to interact, how to communicate with people in different contexts day by day as we go up the ladder of career progression, as we move from one setting to the other, as we handle different cases in different contexts, we just realize that there is no hard and fast rule for handling communication in every single situation. But if you are open and willing to learn, if you are the type that gives priority to personal development, you'll see that you'll be willing to improve your methods, your strategies for communication. You'll be willing to improve them as you move along. That's why, sometimes when you meet some people who are maybe at the middle level of their career or at the higher level of their career, you see how effectively they handle situations. You see how smoothly they navigate complexities that must come up in the workplace, in interpersonal relationships. And you sometimes envy them, like, this person is so wise. This person always has the right words. This person is so calm, even in the midst of confrontation or even under stress. This person is so well at home. This person is hardly ruffled, or you hardly find this person thrown off balance. I want to tell you that such persons didn't get there by chance, or they didn't acquire that level of skill by hereditary factors. They learned along the way. That same person you are looking at and you are admiring, maybe if you met them 10 years ago, you wouldn't admire them that much because they are still at that level of acquiring the skills they now have, and they wouldn't be as efficient, they wouldn't be as effective. But over time, because they were willing to learn, they become superstars in what they do. So I think in this business of effective communication, one very important thing is for us to understand that effective communication doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen by chance. It happens by conscious awareness of the need to communicate effectively and the willingness to learn the ropes. That is how we get there. So after you are done with this course, you write your exams, you pass, you move on. Something has to change. That is just how it goes. I want you to look at effective communication as a ladder that you take one step at a time. So you are on one rung of the ladder now. This course is an opportunity for you to place your feet on the next rung of the ladder. So by the time you are done, you've taken your exams, you should be on another level. And that isn't going to happen just because you passed your exam. It has to happen at a personal level. That is what I mentioned the other time. Effective communication must happen at a personal level, inside of your psyche, inside of your consciousness. It is not going to happen because you have these slides. These slides are there to give you information because, you know, when you have information, it will change your attitude. That's what information is meant to do. Information will change your attitude. It will change your orientation concerning a particular concept. That is what these slides will do for you. These slides will also give you the cognitive information you need to pass your exams. But when it comes to the practical part, which professionals need, I don't want to say most because the theory is also important, but it is the practical aspect of whatever you are learning that will stand you out as a professional. So when it comes to that part, you need to open your heart, you need to open your mind, and you need to determine that something is going to shift in the way you handle some things previously. So in the last class, I did a kind of categorization of maybe subtopics, and I said that using the slides, I want to believe everyone has gotten the slides somehow. So looking at the slides, I said 2 to 14 is going to count as our introduction. And I said 15 and 16 will look at the two as some basic elements of communication skills. And then I said 17 to 19. 17 to 19 would be self-awareness as a factor in effective communication. That's 17 to 19. Then 20, let me look at 20. 20 to 42. 20 to 42 would be on the waiting lists. We're just going to place that aside for now and move to 43. 17 to 19, self-awareness as a factor in effective communication. Then we move to 43, which is effective communication for building trust. Then 44 to 48, barriers to effective communication. 53 to 55, overcoming barriers to effective communication. Then 56 to 62, other role players in effective communication. That's 56 to 62, other role players in effective communication. Is there any question on the categorization I just read out so that we can just go to where we dropped off last week? I mean, yeah, that was last week, I guess. Yeah. Any question? 17, 19. So,
this is the
I think we should be on. So, we already looked at 2 to 14 as the introduction, where I talked about the scope of work, on service delivery that social workers do. We looked at how social workers align their service.
Please, is the lesson still on? I'm not communicating with you people. I'm no more hearing.
We can hear you. Maybe you just need to move a little away from where you are so that your connection can be better.
No, ma. Is the lecture still on? I'm no more hearing from you, please.
We are on and we can hear you. Maybe you need to just move away a little so you can get better connection. So I was talking about the intro parts.
Please, is the lesson still on?
I was talking about the code of ethics that social workers work with. And
is it still
we
on?
also connected to the need for social workers to have social work skills. You can remember, we said social work skills can be divided into two, which are the cognitive and behavioral actions. And that means that as a skillful social worker, you have cognitive actions. That is the facts of the profession, your knowledge, your cognitive knowledge of the profession. What
I'm
you
not
have read.
hearing anything. Is the lesson still on?
Madam Ebere, you are seriously disturbing this class. Somebody should tap her, please, to stop interrupting this class. So I was talking about social work skill, because communication is part of the skills. So when we look at social work skills generally, we are looking at that from two angles, the cognitive and the behavioral. The cognitive is the one that covers your mental knowledge. Let me put it that way. What you know, your intellectual knowledge base. That is cognition. Every social worker must have that. The things you have learned, the things you have read, the things you've heard in lectures, in interactions from other colleagues.
Please, ma. I did not hear you for long now. I just joined you now. But I heard you from as I joined. But later it cuts. I don't know whether it's from network or stop, ma.
Okay, so the cognitive part, like I said, is the part where you have intellectual knowledge. As a social worker, you know your onions. At least you know what's in the books. You know the procedures. You know the steps. You know the methods. You know the theories. That is cognitive. That is a kind of skill. When you are able to store those things mentally, it is one aspect of being skillful. So you need to take that seriously because It is your cognitive content that will determine your behavioral action. I am yet to see anyone who behaves differently from what they know. A person, for example, may know, in quotes, that it is wrong to steal. That person knows. That is a level of cognition. The person knows that it is wrong to steal, but the person still goes ahead to steal. But if you check that knowledge very well, you see that another level of knowledge has entered. If not, that person will not steal. I'm trying to create a link between cognition and behavior so that you understand that most of the time one depends on the other. People behave based on their cognition, based on their knowledge. They may not know that in their subconscious there's another level of knowledge, but you cannot behave outside your scope of knowledge. If you believe, for example, that it is best for a student to attend lectures, that is what you know, that it is best for a student to attend lectures. That's your cognition, your cognitive content. We expect that your behavior will show that you know that when we always see you in class. Cognition will lead to that behavior of always coming to class. But if you believe that coming to class lectures regularly is best for a student, but you don't show up, it means that there is another level of knowledge in your subconscious that even you may not be aware of. There's another level of cognition that supersedes that one that is on the surface. So what I'm trying to say is that social workers need mental knowledge. You must know your work. You must know the procedure. You must know the process. You must know the methods you can use. You must know your tools. What are the tools social workers use? You must understand the language. What are the registers or the technical terms that social workers use? You must have all of those ones. And then your behavioral action will also show your level of skillfulness. When you claim to know all the theories, but you cannot engage a client effectively, you cannot elicit trust. A client cannot trust you, cannot confide in you. You cannot follow through with an intervention. Then we begin to question what you claim to know. Your behavior will show your level of skillfulness. Your behavior will confirm what you claim to know cognitively. So that's the foundation we built for the need for social workers to be skillful and proficient. And we said one of the areas in which you need to be skillful is in communication. So that's what we did for the introduction. Then we look at basic elements. I think this was, I don't know. I'm thinking we stopped at slide 15, where we were talking about communication skills, active listening, that you should be able to listen actively, be able to elicit information, you should be able to maintain professional relationships, observe and interpret. So on 16, we also looked at that last week, engaging service users, discussing sensitive emotional subjects, and creating innovative solutions. So today we are going to self-awareness. And we have a definition there of self-awareness that says it is the process of getting to know your own feelings, your attitudes, and your values. And Self-awareness is very important in this context because nobody can become effective in communication without self-awareness. If you do not know your own triggers, like you are not familiar with yourself, we can say self-awareness is just the state of being familiar with oneself. Social worker, you need to be familiar with yourself as a social worker. Now that you are in training, a social worker in training, you must become familiar with yourself. You need to set a procedure in motion that will help you to know yourself. Self-awareness is self-knowledge. Your feelings. Why do you feel the way you feel? What are your feelings? How excited do you get? People are different. And we are not saying everybody must follow a particular template. We are only saying that in order to be able to engage people effectively, you need to be aware of what you carry. If you are not aware of what you carry, you will not know what to drop. You will not know what to pick up. You will not know what to improve on. And if you don't know all of those things, you cannot be a useful member of society because you will just be living blindly based on assumption. So you need to get to that place. Self-awareness too is an ongoing thing. It is not something that will end with this course. It has not ended for me. I'm learning new things about myself every day. I'm adjusting every day. And I can tell you with all confidence that because I am conscious, because I am intentional, I get better every day. The last time I taught this class, I wasn't this effective. If any of my students in my last class were to be in this class now, I'm sure they will note a lot of improvement in my delivery. That is as a result of self-awareness. And I believe that when next I have to teach this class or any other thing I've done in the past, I'm definitely going to do it better because I'm always looking inward. Let us put self-awareness as the ability to look inward. Most of us, we hate criticism. We don't like it when people tell us what we are not doing right. But is it better to be your own critic? Is it not better? That's what I want to ask. As far as self-awareness is concerned, which one is better? Looking inward and asking yourself difficult questions about what you do and what you don't do, or waiting for other people to call our attention to that through criticism. Which do you think will work better? I need someone or any
It's the one that work better is when you find it by yourself your mistake and try to correct your mistake. Is I feel that one is better than others to criticize you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Josephine. Thank you. You are now with us. We are happy. Thank you. All right. Any other comment? Lucky, go ahead, please.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Sometimes you don't know where your flaws comes from. So when others tells you about your flaws, that's where you make adjustments. That's the way I see it.
You are
But
correct.
it's also good if you can.
Yeah, go ahead.
But it's also better if you can make changes yourself.
Okay, so you are saying that we need the two.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. But the one we discover ourselves is better.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. So I think I align with the two responses. I agree with the two people that responded. We need the two, but the realization that comes through self-awareness is always the best. When you look at yourself and you say, why is it that I get angry so quickly? By yourself, you tell yourself, why do I get angry so quickly? Or you ask yourself, why don't I like interacting with people? I just like to be on my own. Or you ask yourself, why am I shy? I don't like meeting strangers. I don't like speaking up in public. You begin to ask questions around what you have observed about yourself. In fact, a philosopher once said that a life that is unexamined is not worth living. An unexamined life is not worth living. If you are not examining yourself, you are just going with the flow, like we do these days. When they say something is trending, you find everybody rushing into that flow. Just like going downhill as if someone is passing everybody through a funnel. Everybody is just flowing down. Grrr. When a style comes out, now it is Ankara and Ashoke. Ladies, you understand what I'm saying? Ankara mixed with or designed with Ashoke. That is now the trend. And you just see everybody rushing there. Dancing, making a video of yourself dancing is a trend. And you see everybody, old or adult, young, everybody wants to dance and make a video of it and post. So what the question is, why must you do what everybody is doing? Can you please just hold on? Can you restrain yourself and just to be sure that you are still in control of your life and you have not become a zombie, and that the remote control of your life is not already in somebody's hands? Look at this makeup of a trend now. Eyelashes have become the order of the day. I'm not saying it's bad, but why are you doing it? The question is, why are you doing it? Because others are doing it. And they have made you feel that if you have not attached that very long wiper to your eyes, you cannot be reckoned with. If your nails, hardly can you now see the natural nails of an African lady. Go and watch movies from the Western world, movies from Europe, America, even Asia. Watch those movies and tell me how many of the ladies in the movies will you see with long fingernails painted in all the colors of the rainbow? But watch Nigerian home movie. All the nails are long, all the nails. Even a woman in prison, when they show you a woman wearing prison uniform, the woman has fixed nails and has painted them. The question is, the trend you are following, are you following it consciously or are you following it like a zombie? Something is just whining you. Let me put it that way. So if you are at that stage, your self-awareness cannot be good. You don't even know yourself. You are not communicating with yourself like, okay, what do I want? Is this the style of dress I really want to wear? Or I'm doing it because I saw it on Instagram? Your self-awareness must come to a place where you can ask yourself why you are doing what you are doing. Let us put it that way. Be able to ask yourself anything you see yourself doing, even going to church. Why am I doing it? Even taking this course, why? So when you ask yourself those things, you will be able to ask yourself other things. If you are the kind of person that is not punctual, some people, they can never get to an appointment on time. Whether it's class or church or party or meeting with a friend or Anywhere you ask them to come, they can't get there on time. So that if that kind of person wants to change, that person must first of all realize that something is not right. Why am I always coming late for things? From there, is it because I sleep late? Is it because I watch movies late into the night? You can begin to now ask questions, and from there you begin to change. Why do I get angry so easily? Oh, I realize that on the days that I take breakfast on time, when I have my breakfast, I am more balanced. But on the days I skip breakfast, I am edgy and cranky. Oh, because of that, I think I'm going to have to work on not skipping breakfast. You are doing that at the level of self-awareness. If you don't do that, and the criticism is coming from outside, they will label you as a bad person, as an aggressive person. So that lady is very aggressive. Any small thing like this, you just start shouting. But they will not know that you are not a bad person. It's just because you are skipping breakfast and the sugar level in your brain is so low that you cannot coordinate yourself very well. So criticism that is coming from outside can be harsh. It can be very harsh. Even you know how you criticize others, but you will not really know what is at the foundation, what is at the background of how they are behaving. But if you use self-awareness, you will reduce criticism from outside, because before anybody tells you, you already know and you're already working on it. So self-awareness is very important for anyone to be able to communicate effectively. Because if you are not aware of the things that trigger you, your communicative engagements will become problematic. You will not have patience. I used to be a very impatient person. I'm still working on it. I think I'm better now. I always finish people's expressions in my head. When you're talking, I already did a summary of what you are talking about, and I can't wait for you anymore. I can't wait for you to go the long route and tell me this and tell me that, and then I already feel like I know where you're going. So just cut to the chase and don't waste my time. But a method cannot work in a profession like social work. It can't work anywhere. It cannot even work in the academics where I belong, because you need to listen to students. You need to allow them to express themselves. That person that is talking to you and you think is wasting time might actually be using that exchange to exhale, can be using that opportunity to talk, to free themselves of some burdens. So it's not all the time that you label it as wasting of time. But if I did not, after a while, I discovered that by myself. I knew that I was too impatient. I can't, anything that is not sharp, anything that is not clear cut, don't bring it near me. But that is a very wrong approach. If I go on like that, I'm going to cut off many people, and I'm going to really narrow down my scope of impact. I will not be able to impact as many people as I should. So I had to begin to work on patience. I had to begin to work on the ability to sit and listen. I'm still working on it. But I was able to come to, nobody ever told me that I was impatient. People may just go behind my back and say all sorts of things. But when I realized it myself, I started working on it. So everyone here, there must be something you need to work on. So put that self-awareness into motion and begin to ask yourself, not only the negative parts, even the positive traits we have. We can say ask questions around them so that we can maintain them and even improve on them. So there's an example on the next slide that during interviews, um, when a social worker engages a client in an interview and you are asking your question, if you are the kind of, there's a way you ask questions that the person you are asking with, you may be tired as a professional. Maybe you've had a long day. Maybe you have some small ailments that you are even managing. And you are interviewing a client and you are like, so when did you say your husband returned to the house yesterday? You know, if your tone is like that, or so you say, Madam, when your husband started shouting, what did you do? You know, if you go on like that, what do you think the client is likely to feel? What do you think that client is likely to conclude in their minds? Response, please.
The patient may feel that the person that is doing it is not serious on what we are doing.
That you are not taking them seriously? Very good, Madam Josephine. Any other response?
A client might feel that you are not paying good attention towards his or her presentation.
Very good, very good, very good. Any other one? Okay, so those two responses are accurate. As a social worker, the social worker may be tired. The social worker may be a little down, but you cannot expect the client to just automatically know that. So if you have a good level of self-awareness, you will know that, oh, I'm tired today. I'm not even in the mood for this interview. By yourself, you know that already. And when you know that, say, I have this headache, but I have to take this interview. How am I going to manage it? So because you are conscious, you are aware of your own state, you can now strategize on how it will not interfere with what you want to do. But if you are not aware, you just find yourself shouting at the client too. Because if you ask a question like, Madam, please, how many children do you have? And the client says, do you mean the one that I gave birth to myself or the children that are staying with me? And you are in that mental state where you are already so low and so down, you may find yourself shouting at the client. Are you the one that gave birth to the other children that are staying with you? I said, how many children do you have? And the moment you do that, you can no longer be called a professional. A professional will never shout at a client. Ever. Ever. I'm not saying if that happens, the professional cannot improve on it, cannot do better, cannot apologize. But a professional that does that and apologizes is a professional that knows what should be done and what not to be done and has that level of self-awareness. Some other persons will not even see anything wrong with it. So self-awareness is very important. The way you are coming across, the way you are talking, the way you are responding, what message is it giving to the other person? Self-awareness will let you think about that. So you need to understand what are the things that make you angry as an individual. What are your triggers? What are the things that make you sad? What are some experiences you've had in the past? If you had a difficult childhood, for example, and you want to become a social worker, you need to first work on yourself to make sure that your childhood trauma is healed, that you have your wounds, the wounds that you carry as a result of your own experiences, You must first of all work on that. Otherwise, you won't be able to help anybody because you are crippled by trauma. If you grew up in foster homes where you were maltreated, if you've been a victim of sexual molestation or even rape, if you have been a victim of child abuse and neglect, all of those things are still somewhere in your subconscious, influencing the way you behave. So you need to go back, look inwards, and see what are those things that may limit you, that may interfere with your output as a professional, especially in terms of the ability to communicate effectively. Okay, so that's self-awareness.
Excuse me, ma.
Yes,
I
please.
have a question. Please, can I go on?
Yes, please.
Okay, mommy. What I'm asking is that in a situation whereby a professional health worker have patient because of too much of work or stress, he cannot manage. He or she cannot manage that patient as of then. Can the social worker postpone the job, or can she permit for excuse from that length?
Okay, thank you very
Hello.
much. Thank you for the question. Like I said, professionals are also human beings and they have their own battles to fight. But when you are in your workplace, the first thing to remember is that you are being paid to render services. Even if you are doing it pro bono, you are there because you came out. If you were in your house, I don't think a client will come and meet you there to bug you with their issues. If a client comes to meet you in the house, that is a social visit. It is no longer a professional bargain. A client you are working with in the workplace may be someone you know in your area. You will not say because you are working with that person in the office, you will not interact with the person in your neighborhood. But when you are interacting with that person in your neighborhood, you are not within the confines, absolutely, of your profession. Although there are ethics of the profession that will limit or that will restrict you in your interaction with that person when you are at home, when you are away from the workplace. But anytime you are in the workplace, always remember that one, you are being paid for the service you render. That is one thing we don't take seriously here in Nigeria, and it is very annoying. When you go to which example can I use? When you go, let me even use the school environment. As an undergraduate, when you go to school and you want to talk to a lecturer, and the lecturer is being aggressive, the lecturer is being nasty to you, that is completely wrong. Because I tell my students, whatever I am doing for you in the classroom, in the school setting, as far as your academics is concerned, is not a favor. I am being paid to do it. And when you have been paid to do a job, why will you be behaving as if you are doing somebody a favor? You're shouting at people who paid. Students don't come to school free of charge. Money came out of their pockets. Money came out of their parents. They are paying for a service to be rendered. So what right do you have to maltreat somebody who paid for a service? So it is the same thing when you go to work and being paid to do your job. So you have to do it. That is one. Then number two, if you are not up to it on a particular day, maybe because of ill health, or some emergency and let them know you won't be able to make it to work. But if you showed up, it means you are ready to work. If you now realize that even at work, truly you want to work and then you showed up, you are not feeling top notch, you are not feeling completely up to the task, you can speak to your line manager. In every workplace, there is a hierarchy of authority. There must be someone you're reporting to. You let the person know. I wouldn't have come to work today, but there's this case I'm handling. I just have to meet with the client today. I am feeling this, I'm feeling that. As soon as I'm done with that client, I would like to just go back and take care of myself. You talk to your line manager. You talk to the person you're reporting to. And eventually, when you meet with the client, that is, if you showed up for the client, if you are not well enough, don't go. Nobody is saying you should go and die. I saw something in the news last week that broke my heart. One very young, good-looking medical doctor, I think in University of Port Harcourt Teaching Hospital, just collapsed and died after 70-something hours on call duty. Vibrant, handsome-looking young man. He just collapsed and died. Nobody is saying you should do that too. If that young man stayed in his house that day, he will still be alive today, attending to more. He is more useful to us alive than dead. So if you are not feeling up to it, stay back and let them know you are not feeling well. But if you showed up and you are still feeling somehow, but you know you can manage it, still let them know. Let the people in charge know. And when you meet with your client, that's the first thing you let them know. Treat human beings like human beings. Greet your client warmly. No matter how tired you are, you can still greet someone with a smile. Greet them well. Tell them to make themselves comfortable. Smile and ask about their families. And then you say, see, today we are not going to really stay long. I'm feeling a little down. The moment you say that, the client begins to sympathize with you. The client becomes empathetic. It's like, oh, yeah, sorry, ma. Sorry, sir. Please, I hope you are already taking medication. The client will begin to even show concern for you. So if you already said that ahead, and then you begin to draw your question, although I don't encourage that. Under no circumstances should you ask questions in a way that your client will feel as if you don't care, as if you just want to get rid of them. So when are you going to, as if you want to fall asleep? No, that is wrong. But if you are not feeling so strong and you mentioned it, like, okay, we are going to spend just a few minutes. I'm a little under the weather. I just want to get a few things from you. Your client, you have already created the atmosphere in which the client can understand some things that are not exactly the way they should be. So that is how to navigate that kind of situation. For example, I was having my siesta and it dragged into 4:30. In fact, it was just God that woke me up. I would have still been asleep. I just woke up with a start and remembered this class. So when I woke up, I was feeling really grudgy. You know how you feel when you sleep in the afternoon and you wake up towards evening? My brain was as if it entered into a kind of freeze mode. Everything was not how it's supposed to be. But I knew I had a class to teach. The moment I remembered the class, everything switched. Because I cannot when I started talking, you could not ever know that just a few minutes ago, I was feeling so clogged up. I was feeling so grudgy, like it was going to take another hour for me to be active again. But I cannot bring that to this class. and be telling you, I just woke up, oh guys, please, everybody behave yourself. Can't do that. Professionals don't do that. So most of the time, if you have the right mindset, your body will align. Because of the mindset I have, this class that I'm teaching, I'm not doing you a favor. I have been paid, or I'm going to be paid to do it. So I have to do it. It's a job. So I don't come here and start talking as if somebody begged me to come. No, it is not done. So because that is my mindset, my body switched immediately. The switch was automatic. My brain came alive as if somebody switched up a fluorescent. The moment I remembered, I'm going to start the class at 5, everything came on bar. Because as a professional, I have to be on top of my game. After the class, I can ask, then my brain can just come down, as like accelerator. When you place your feet on the accelerator, your foot on the accelerator, it goes up. Woo. So after the class, I take my feet off the accelerator, and you see the indicator will come back. Then I can relax. But I don't come to relax on you, my service users. So that's how it should be for you as well as professionals when you when you begin your practice. So now I am on 43. Please go to slide 43. There we're talking about effective communication and building trust. We have already said a lot about this. Your client must be able to trust you. And trust don't happen out of wishful thinking. If you want someone to trust you, you have to work for it. From the first day you meet your client, you begin to build trust. Build trust by your facial expression. Build trust by the tone of your voice. Build trust by the arrangement of your workspace. You build trust by the way you listen. When your client enters your office for the first time and you stand up, someone knocks on the door and you have an appointment, you know it's your client, say, come in, please. And the person steps in and you get up from your seat with a smile. Hey, Madam Ngozi, good morning. You're welcome. Please sit down. And you're on your feet. You are already laying a foundation for trust. Human beings we don't need a long time to know whether we are safe in a place or not. It doesn't take long. Within the first 5 minutes of your interaction with the client, that client has already created the impression of the kind of professional you are. Whether you are a caring person, whether you are an empathetic person, whether you are patient, whether you are outgoing, whether you are amiable, 5 minutes is enough for a client to make up their minds about who you are or who they think you are and how competent they think you are. As students, how long does it take you to rate your lecturers? How long? How long? Do you have to be in a class with a lecturer for an entire semester before you know which lecturer knows what they're doing and which ones are just messing around? You don't need more than one lecture. One lecture is enough. 1 hour lecture is enough for you to tell whether a lecturer is good at what they do or not. Who's interrupting my class? Joyce. Can I mute Joyce? Thank you. So building trust is up to you. And another way of building trust is when you don't minimize what a client has to say. I don't know if you have experienced it too. You had the bad day. Maybe in school, you missed a quiz. or you missed a quiz in one class and then the lecturer didn't allow you to enter another class, and then on your way home you lost your transport fare and you had to walk all the way home, and then you get home and there's this neighbor of yours or a roommate, and then you just want to unburden to someone by sharing how your day has been, and you say, Nne, today, today has been very, very tough. Can you imagine that the lecturer in psychology class did not allow me to enter that class? I was standing outside though. All of a sudden, he told the others to get a sheet of paper and write a quiz. I thought he was going to allow us, those of us outside, to enter. He did not allow us to enter. That was how I missed that quiz. As I left that class because I was supposed to go to admin office to go and pick my, as you are saying that, the person that is supposed to listen to you, the person you are expecting some level of comfort from, will just suddenly say, that one is a small one, no. Is the only quiz you missed that you are shouting? Come and see what happened to me today. As I entered Keke to take me, and this person will just shut you up and then begin to reel out their own story. Have you experienced it before? Anyone? Has anyone experienced that? Anyone? A situation where you want to
Yes,
unburden.
ma'am.
Have you experienced it?
Yes, ma'am.
So how did you feel? How did you feel?
I felt bad
Why?
because it did not even allow me to finish my and tell me how as in because at that time I needed comfort and stuff like so now just talk to. So I didn't get that by you telling me your own side of the story, as in your own sad story.
All right. That's how it turns out, really. When you're trying to share something and somebody shoves it aside. Somebody shoves it aside. It's painful. It makes the
Yes, ma'am.
person feels worse.
Yes.
Or when someone tells you, I I grew up, I never knew my parents. I grew up in an orphanage. Someone tells you that, I never knew my parents. I grew up in an orphanage. And you say, so what is that? That one is nothing now. You should even thank God that you grew up in an orphanage. What about those children that grew up on the streets? They don't nobody to look after them. At least in orphanage, they were giving you food. What will you say about that kind of response? I just need you to talk. What will you say about that kind of how will you describe that kind of response?
Can I say something?
Go ahead, please.
Okay, that kind of response means like the person is not interested in anything I'm going to say next. Like I was actually expecting the person to sympathize with me that, oh, you grew up in an orphanage and it would be nice. When while growing, you're going to meet other people that are good. But the person just make me to feel like I'm still, even though I'm trying to tell the person so the person can make me to feel okay, it's good, yeah, among people. The person make me to feel I don't have a parent, so nobody's going to take care of me and stuff like that. I don't know if that is among.
Yeah, it is. Thank you. Any other person?
Yeah, I'm so
I
me.
okay.
Go ahead,
Okay,
Caroline.
okay. I was just expecting just one singular act from the person, empathy. I was
Mm-hmm.
trying to feel that the person is like trying to put my case or having it like trying to be as if she's the one, like how bad I am, like trying to feel my pains, putting my own problem in her own shoe as if she's the one that was
Mm-hmm.
in that orphanage. So I was just trying to expect some one thing from the person being empathy.
Mm. Thank you so much. Thank you. So you agree with me that we respond to people like that sometimes? I can see a hand.
Yes,
Is
ma.
it? Yeah, go ahead.
Concerning this scenario, I think
Mm.
you will likely not tell the person your situation next time because you feel that the person does not like understand you the way
Yes, yes, Lucky, you are
you also.
so correct. You are so correct, and your response is just so apt. You are absolutely correct. You force that person to shut down on you. That thing is so real. By the time you realize that someone is minimizing, that is the word, minimizing your situation, next time you don't take your matter to that person. Lie, lie. So when a professional does that, if a client tells you, for example, a client in that's a victim of child abuse tells you that um, um, tells you something like, my mom or my stepmom doesn't allow me to go out to play with the others. When others are outside playing or when others are watching television, she asked me to stay at the backyard and wash clothes. And I'll be there until late in the night. And before she allows me to go and sleep. And then your response is like, is she not training you? She's training you. After washing the clothes, does she give you food? And the poor girl will say, yes, she gives me food. What else do you want? That even when I was small, I was even younger than you. I used to wash all the clothes in the house. I would be the one to sweep the entire compound. After sweeping the compound, I will still now go and hawk okpa. You have minimized that client's situation. You have minimized their pain. Whether that thing is really, really big or not, so long as it is a source of pain for your client, please don't minimize it. In your heart, you may feel like this is not a big deal, I beg. But you never say that to your client. So long as you see that it is giving your client pain, you must, first of all, acknowledge your client's pain. Acknowledge it. Even if it's as simple as my husband doesn't talk to me or my husband doesn't tell me where he's going. We all know that there are many husbands who don't tell anybody where they are going for whatever stupid reason. But it is not something a woman should really dwell on and let it become a source of headache. If your husband doesn't tell you where he's going, that is up to him. You tell him, you ask him a few times. If you see that he's not interested, you let him be. You should be able to manage it yourself. As a mature woman, you can manage that yourself and focus your life on the things that really matter. But let's say a woman fails to manage it and it becomes a source of crisis in the family, and then that matter gets to your table as a social worker, and the woman tells you, my husband doesn't tell me where he's going when he goes out. It is not for you to begin to say, you want to start monitoring your husband? You cannot face your children? That is the source of your client's pain. You have to acknowledge it. Say, oh, madam, I understand how you must feel because, with all the security issues around, it's really important for people really want to know the movement of their loved ones. So I understand how worried you can get, especially when it's getting late and you've not heard from him. You first of all, acknowledge it. You validate their pain, validate it. So along the line, you can now begin to let her see how she doesn't necessarily have to dwell on that, but not at the beginning and not in a harsh way. Okay, so we are going to 42, like I said, or I'm on 43. I'm on 43 now. I'm done with 43. Now I am on barriers to effective communication. We are going to do a lot of reading up on this because they are quite straightforward. What are those things that can negatively affect how people engage others? What are the things that can negatively affect our effective communication? That is what the barriers are talking about. The things that can prevent you from being able to connect effectively with your client to the point that they can trust you, they can give you the information you need, they can follow your prescriptions, they can follow your advice as a professional. Those are the things we are looking at. So you see on that slide, dissatisfaction or disinterest. If you just picked social work because there was no other course they gave you, you really wanted to study marketing, but your cutoff was not sufficient. So you found yourself in social work and you are not happy. People are laughing at social workers. You think it's not a good course. You want a course that is popular, a course that is trending, like trending like selfie. You cannot be an effective communicator. You will not be a good professional if you are dissatisfied or you have no interest in your job. If you cannot listen to others for whatever reason, you are restless, you are impatient, you cannot do well in communication. If you are not transparent, if you are not willing to come across as a human being yourself, this has to do with proud people. Some people are just proud. When you see the way they will even, the word, we say they package themselves. A social worker cannot be a proud person. What and you are proud. I'm not saying if you have money, don't dress well, but you don't dress in an intimidating manner that your client will even enter your workspace and doesn't even know how to talk to you because you have just you've kicked up yourself in all sort of extravagant stuff. Your hair is everywhere. Your makeup is as if you want to go into a carnival. Your shoe, your heel, everything is upside, especially ladies. Our own sometimes can be too much. So when you present yourself like that, trust becomes a problem. The moment your client feels intimidated, then they feel uncomfortable. So you need to have this level of transparency and simplicity that the moment your client sees you, they can warm up to you, they can feel safe, like, okay, this is somebody I can relate with. Not like, who is this rich woman, or who is this highly placed man? What am I going to say to him? No, we have to make sure that the gap, we don't put up that social distance that is so wide that clients will not be able to relate. If there are conflicts in the workplace, then communication will be a problem. When colleagues cannot agree, it will affect the way they communicate. Where there are cultural differences and language barrier, it becomes a problem. If you don't understand what is acceptable in the culture, you may run into brick walls in your bid to communicate with others. In some cultures, you are not to offer a woman a handshake. In some cultures, you don't even exchange a handshake with a stranger. There are different kinds of expectations. So if you are working in a particular setting, it's important to get yourself familiar with the culture. What are some things that are accepted? What are some things that are not accepted? What are some expressions that one should use with caution and things like that? So language barrier also can be an issue when you have to communicate with someone that is not so proficient in English. and you can't speak their local language, it becomes an issue. You may need an interpreter. So language differences can become a problem. When you have expectations or you are prejudiced about something, it can become a problem. If you work in a setting and they already told you the men in this community, they are very promiscuous, or they told you the ladies in this environment, oh, all of them are useless, the ladies in this place, all of them are prostitutes, it becomes, and you allow that to sink into your head, it becomes a problem. That prejudice it becomes a problem. So you cannot communicate effectively because you already made up your mind about who you think the people are. That shouldn't be at all. Don't conclude. Don't judge. Social workers don't judge people. People have social problems. A lady may be pregnant out of wedlock. A teenage girl may be pregnant. Don't judge her. You cannot judge. She didn't come to you for judgment. She came to you for help. Your business is to help her navigate that season of her life and to empower her so that she will not find herself in such difficult and debilitating situation again. You empower her so that she knows who she is. She develops goals for herself, and she knows how to pursue those goals. That is your business. Your business is not in quoting Bible and saying what she should have done and what she shouldn't have done, and all of those things that we talk about. So that is what should be done in the professional setting, and not already making up your mind. Let the passion to help, because anybody can change. Let me tell you that. There is no human being that is still alive that cannot change. Some of the people you know today that you are calling good people, they were not like that some years ago. But by the grace of God, they got the kind of support they needed, and they began to make different choices, and their lives turned out better. So you can also offer that service to other people. They can also change too. So we don't make up our minds about anybody. We don't conclude that they are down there, they are good for nothing, they have wasted their lives. Even we have seen drug addicts that have already lost total control of their lives as a result of their drug use. We have seen their lives turn around because they got the right kind of support. They became useful human beings and even advocates for avoidance of drug abuse and things like that. So please, let us go out there with the mindset of listening to people and providing support, not criticizing and judging where they have been or what they are going through. So there are also physical barriers.
Excuse me, ma. Mommy, can I ask a question, please, ma?
If you're engaging, you are communicating with someone in a room that is not well ventilated, if there is noise in the background, your television is on, African Magic is showing one woman chasing her husband with a cutlass, all of those things can they are barriers. There can be effective communication in that kind of setting. If you were listening to music before your client came in, and you are the kind that loves all this pop music and all this music that say all sort of nonsense, the moment your client comes in, why should that music still be playing? There are songs played on television, on radio in Nigeria. Gone are those days when they rate music. You can hear anything. No be you a carry come, but now you a go carry go. You will not finish the line for me. Not be you, I say something, something. There's one song like that used to annoy me. What's that song again? Not be you, I say something. Not be you, God.
Yes, ma, that's it by Davido.
Yeah, they
Is
will
it the
do.
one?
Yes,
Is it the one that sang it?
Yes, ma.
yes.
That song say,
Yes.
no be you, no
Baby
be you,
sweet.
I carry come.
But now you are go carry go.
Carry
Sissy
go,
Ferrari.
sissy na carry go.
Imagine that kind of song, go. That song is just projecting a social vice, something that is entirely despicable. You went out with a lady and you abandoned her there because you met another lady and you carry that one. Carry go where now? To do what? So imagine having all sort of funny songs playing in your office, and then you have a client with you. That client may even be a minor, and they are singing all sort of nonsense songs. What have we not heard in the name of song these days? Gen Z, these guys will not kill us. There's nothing they don't say. And the songs are everywhere. So some of these things are major barriers to communication. Anything, just be neutral. That's what I'm saying. As a professional, be neutral. If you are a Christian, don't force your Christian beliefs down the throats of your clients. If you are Muslim, don't come and peddle your Islamic beliefs or whatever it is that is personal to you, your music preference. Don't come and force it down other people's throats. Just be neutral and professional. When you are engaging a client and your phone is ringing 24/7, your phone is ringing and you are picking it, you are calling, you are, oh, my G. That football match yesterday, no go better for man you. And your client is there in front of you. You finish that call and you say, sorry, madam, sorry, please. Okay, so we were saying that your son has not been coming home for the past 3 months. Okay, so, and then your phone rings again. You pick it again. Hello? Okay. That keke man don't come. Tell her make he carry the generator. You have already messed up. You have messed up that session. Or all the time, your phone is beeping and you are checking your messages and you are responding, your WhatsApp messages, you are responding. The client is there looking at you. You know how they will just sit down and be looking at you. And they already know that you are not a serious human being. They already know that you have already told them that they don't amount to anything. They don't amount to anything. You have told them that. Because if you were in a meeting with your manager, if you are in a meeting with the head of your facility and your phone rings, will you get up in that meeting and be saying, hey, my G, I they come, wait for me for no hours? Will you say that kind of thing? You will not try it. So the fact that you are doing it when you are engaging your client, you are making it clear to that person that that person is inconsequential. You are a nobody. You can't do me nothing. Your opinion doesn't count. That's what you are saying. And it becomes a huge barrier in the way that person engages with you, in the way they open up to you, and things like that. Okay, so I need you to also, on your own, think of many other things that can be barriers to communication. There can be physiological barriers too. Physiological, that has to do with your body, the physical, the physical body of maybe the service user or the social worker. It has to do with how you are feeling in your body at a particular time. That is physiological. It may be like hunger, can be a serious barrier. A hungry man is an angry man. If your client is hungry, It's a problem. If you are hungry, you have a headache, your client has a headache, your client is feeling feverish or just treating malaria, all of those things. The way we feel inside determines a lot of things. So when we are conscious of that, we first of all try our best to remove the barriers so that we can communicate effectively. Okay, so the next slide there is 49. I think I'm right. Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Yeah, 49. And that is talking about how to handle difficult service users. Because no matter how hard you try, there will always be people who will not align with your own methods. But I need you to understand that a service user that is proving difficult, stubborn, aggressive, unfriendly, a service user that appears closed up, 90% of the time, they are just putting up that appearance. Behind that exterior, that very hard exterior they are presenting to you, there is someone that needs to be heard. There is someone that is in pain, someone that is afraid, someone that has been through trauma, someone that doesn't want to trust anybody anymore. But in order to protect themselves, so that they will not come across as weak, they will put up that very difficult exterior. So if you, as a professional, takes that as the fact, just on face value, you are going to lose that client. So when you are handling a difficult client, first of all, you calm yourself. If that client succeeds in pulling you into that stress mode, the two of you will drown. If the client succeeds in pulling you into that aggressive mode, the two of you will drown. But if you stand your ground as a social worker and you calm yourself, that is one rule I'm living with now. Calm yourself. That is the first thing you do when you find yourself in any difficult situation. Calm yourself. And when you calm yourself, it will now change the pace in that environment. The way you respond, your voice, the tone is low. It will ring a bell in the brain of the person that is being aggressive. But when the person is shouting and you are shouting, the person is banging the table, you are banging the chair. The person is slamming the door and you are shouting, "Get out!" So who is who? So you should understand that most of the people you will be dealing with, they are people going through some difficult time. And when you are going to, even you, when things are not working well, you know how you feel. Some men, when they are broke, to them, being broke is the same as being mad. Just because they don't have money, insanity sets in. When they have money again, they become normal. Something as simple, well, I don't know if it's simple. Being broke, I don't know if it's simple. But I don't think being broke should now lead us to extreme behavior. Or being angry, your dinner is not ready on time. True, you have gone to work, you came back at 5, 6, and your food is not ready. Then the whole neighborhood must know. You bring down the house. When that kind of thing happens, and they scatter everywhere, and somebody hits another person, and they land in hospital, and they go and call the social worker. Those are the kind of people you are going to be dealing with. So you can see how it's important for you to begin to train yourself to remain calm in the midst of aggression, in the midst of confrontation, in the midst of rejection and resistance. How can you maintain your cool? When you need to quickly remove yourself from an environment that is turning dangerous, if you are not calm, you will not even know how to do it. So being able to maintain our cool is one very important way of handling difficult clients. So let us look at how we can use our words, our expressions, non-verbal expressions to achieve our goals. I was telling a student last week, a student who had problems with courses and all of that, so many issues, and she never talks about them. She just goes around, walking around and aimlessly. I was telling her, I said, see, your mouth, do you think God gave it to you just to eat? What you do with your mouth is just to eat. You just eat. You don't know that your mouth is for your salvation. I told her that. Later, when I was going over the day, later in the evening, I remembered what I said to that student. I now said, oh, what I said is true. Because it's even in the Bible. The Bible says, if you believe in your heart that Jesus is the Son of God, and you confess with your mouth that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. That's what the Bible says. It's in Romans chapter 10. You have to confess with your mouth. So I now said, oh, that confirms what I said to that lady. Truly, your salvation is in your mouth. So even as a social worker, as a professional, your professional progress is in your mouth. The things you say, how you say them, the body language you use to accompany them will go a long way in helping you bring difficult clients to do what you want them to do. Because, like I said earlier, the first stage of intervention begins with clacking. That client must give you information about themselves. Where do you live? How old are you? How many children? Are you married? What religion? What church? Your father, your mom? Where do you work? All of those things. Have you been in hospital lately? What medical condition? What's your salary range? Things like that. So if a client is difficult, where will you get information from? So you have to find a way to let them relax, smile at them, offer them a bottle of water, whatever you need to do so that you can get your job done. Your communication skill will help you in that regard a lot of times. And always remember that when you have tried everything and it seems things are not changing, you are not called to do this alone. Social workers collaborate with their colleagues in the same practice. They collaborate with professionals in other areas, in other specialties, psychologists, psychiatrists, medical personnel, gynecologists, pediatricians. They collaborate with these persons to get results. So when you are handling a case that is becoming difficult, you can talk to somebody, talk to your line manager, talk to your team lead, talk to the person you are working with, exchange notes. And I'm sure you'll get good ideas on the way forward from some of these interactions. So communication skills are the vehicle to take a thorough medical history. I already said that. That's on slide 52. You need your communication skills to get information, basic information that you need to work with from your client. You have to specifically learn these skills. Professionals learn their skills. Learn to smile. If you are here and you don't smile, you cannot do this work. Oh. Your face is always like stone. You see, that is how my face is. So it's not like I'm angry. No. From today, begin to practice how to smile in the mirror. When you wake up, smile at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror because you'll be needing it. Whatever you need, when you choose a profession, anything you need that will make you do well in that profession, you need to develop it. Otherwise, others will be getting commendation. you will be getting complaints from clients all the time. And there are, in Nigeria, we are not particular about getting feedback from clients. In other countries, developed countries, there is always an open channel through which your clients can give feedback on your performance. For example, I am a university lecturer. In some universities, students give feedback. There are forms students will fill to talk about your output as a lecturer. You are not the alpha and omega. Your students will rate you. So bring that into social work practice. If you find yourself in a facility where clients have this open channel to give feedback, what kind of feedback would your clients give concerning you? If you want positive feedback, if you want high rating, you need to work on your communicative skills. So how do you overcome the barriers to effective communication? We've already said a lot about that. So we've already said a lot about that. On page 53, you can find more. You can find more all the way to 54. If you have a barrier of time constraints, like you have too many things to do within a limited period, and that is forcing you to hurry things with your client. Sometimes when doctors have a lot of patients waiting for consultation, the moment you enter, they don't even give you time to ask questions, to interact with you. They don't even tell you anything. They just scribble on your file and then tell you to go. That is not a method that can work in social work practice. It shouldn't be in medical practice too. So as a professional, you need to find a way to spread out your task so that you can save more time. So read up those sites on how to manage your environment, how to manage noise and distractions. We already said a lot of that. How do you manage pain? How do you manage fatigue? We already said a lot about that. Don't ignore your own body. Don't ignore your health because you want to provide service to others. No. Your first service to humanity is to take care of yourself. That is the first service to humanity. The first good you can do to society is to look after yourself. So please, always get enough sleep. Make sure your diet is good. And look for smart methods of managing stress so that you can be more useful, you can be more productive. Okay, there's a part talking about embarrassment. If we already talked about those things. How do you manage embarrassment and anxiety? It's still with your communication skills. If you notice that the client is feeling embarrassed about talking about some issues, you must find a way, like we said, to make them comfortable. When you ask a question and you see that the client is reluctant to answer, you rephrase. It may be the same question, you now ask it in a different way. Or you may put that question aside and ask simpler questions so that after the client learns to relax with you, after you've succeeded in building trust, you can now bring up that question again. We have already talked about how not to judge, how not to condemn. Things like that will help your clients not to feel embarrassed, not to feel anxious. I think the last thing we'll look at today is this use of jargons. That's on page 59. Slide 59. Jargon just is an expression used to refer to the things you talk about, the language you use as professionals that other people may not understand. That is what we mean by jargon. And every profession has them. When we say clacking, for example, as a social worker, when your colleague asked you, did you remember to clack that client? You know what the person is saying. The person is asking whether you have taken down the client's basic information. But you will not go and tell a client, the first thing I'm going to do is to clack you. You don't tell a client, I'm going to clack you, because that client has no business with your technical term. They don't. Just say, I'm going to take some basic information. I want you to give me some information now. This information will be useful for us later as we interact and go through what we are working on. Explain in clear terms. So there are many other words that professionals use like that, which doesn't make sense to clients. So we should avoid using those things. So every other thing from 60 is about what we've been talking about. Avoid information overload. Don't weigh your client down with too much talk, too much assignment. When you get home, you do this, do that, do this. When you are coming the next time, bring this one, bring that one. Write out all the things that are bothering you. Bring all the books that you are reading. Don't weigh your client down with too much information or too much activity. Let everything come out in small, manageable doses. Okay, so thank you very much for showing up today. It's been a long one, but we thank God for how far we've come. So tomorrow we are meeting again to wrap this up. And we'll be looking at the sites that I pulled out, 20 to 42. Whatever it is we can take out of that, we'll look at it. So if you have any questions as well from today, you save them. We're going to take those questions or comments first thing tomorrow by God's grace. If you have questions or comments, you want to also talk to your colleagues, your classmates, your colleagues on in this class. That's what I mean. If there are some things we've talked about today that you also want to contribute to, you want to say something to everybody about it, that will be the first thing we take tomorrow, your questions or comments. So we're going to call it a day now. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you, ma.
Enjoy the rest
Thank you,
of your
ma.
evening. Take care of yourself.
Yeah,
Take care
you
of
too, ma.
All right. Bye.
Thank you, ma.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.
Bye.
Godswill, Nadia will go see you. Thank you, ma. Thank you, ma.
Bye.
Bye.
Tomorrow. Bye.
The bride don't
Bye.
plenty.
And I buy down too much.
I swear.
Njoku, Nadia will go see you too.
Who is that? Who is that? Who is it? But I beg, I don't get your
They
strength.
play.
Come,
Answer
come.
question, you say no.
So, you know, do you go see me out that question for yeah, you know, the possible. You hear me?
Yeah, and Godswill.
No, not like that. We are
Have
brilliant
you?
students, man.
Have you?
I think, I think, no, man, no talk till tomorrow. The kind of question I
See
go
you tomorrow,
bumble
till
up next.
tomorrow. Have you? Voila.